God's advice today. Have you ever felt that God is trying to speak to you, yet in the busyness of life, His signs go unnoticed? This message invites you to pause, reflect, and open your heart. Perhaps this is exactly what you needed to hear today. Watch until the end with openness, and if these words touch you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to receive more messages like this. Don't forget to check the pinned comment for a 1-minute prayer and a recommended message to help strengthen your faith even more. God said, "My beloved Son, I speak to you now with love and authority so that you may receive, without reservation, the identity that I myself wrote over you before any pain tried to define you. I saw every tear, every doubt, and every moment when you almost believed the lies the world threw at your heart, but none of them had the power to erase what I determined. Every waiting was intentional, every silence was care, every process was preparation shaped by my hands. You are not the result of your falls, you are the fulfillment of my grace. You are not marked by failure, you are sealed by promise." Do you feel that you are ready for a deep change in your life and in the lives of those you love? Sometimes, all we need is a small step of faith to open the doors of abundance, peace, and the blessings God has already prepared for us. A simple 1-minute prayer can be the beginning of a spiritual journey that transforms the inside and reflects on the outside. If you desire to attract more light, balance, and prosperity, spiritual and material, click the link in the first comment. There you will find a simple practice, guided with love, that can help you connect more deeply with the divine presence in your life. Even when you felt small, I was strengthening your roots, aligning your character, and guarding your heart for this time. Remember what I have already declared in my word. In the middle of your journey and at the center of your story, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 17. Today I remove old labels and awaken in you the courage to live as who I created you to be. Receive my truth, walk without guilt from the past, without fear of the future, and rest, because your identity is secure in me. Comment, I receive the identity God wrote for me. I want you to begin, little by little, to see yourself through my eyes, and no longer through the marks left by exhaustion, falls, or the frustrations of the journey. The strength I placed within you was never lost. It only fell asleep under the weight of battles you had to face without understanding why. Your worth was never reduced, even when it was questioned by harsh words, unfair comparisons, and eyes that could not perceive who you truly are. You carry a unique ability to reinvent yourself, to remain standing when everything around you seems to collapse, to keep being light even on cloudy days. The fall did not erase your shine. The loss did not cancel the destiny I wrote. Failure did not interrupt my plan. Everything that was shaken is now being rebuilt with deeper, firmer, and more mature foundations. What I am doing in your life is not superficial or temporary. It is structural, intentional, and definitive. I am strengthening your foundation so that you can sustain what is coming without fear of losing it. Comment, God is rebuilding my life on firm foundations. When I speak of reconstruction, I am not referring only to giving back what fell or restoring what broke before your eyes. I am leading you to a level you never imagined reaching, a place where maturity, peace, and clarity walk together. My work begins on the inside, where no one sees, where you fall silent, where only I have access. I am touching feelings you hid to survive, healing memories that still hurt when you thought of them in silence, removing weights you carried for years without sharing with anyone. My spirit is moving in that secret place, reorganizing emotions, aligning thoughts, bringing order where there was confusion and rest where there was exhaustion. Nothing is outside my control. As it is written in my word, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Psalm 51 verse 10. This inner renewal is the foundation of the new season that has already begun to approach you. Comment, I allow God to heal my inner self. You who so many times smiled just to avoid worrying anyone will begin to experience a true, deep, and constant joy, one that does not depend on favorable circumstances or the approval of others. You who kept silent to avoid conflicts, to preserve others' peace while losing your own, will find a firm, secure, and mature voice that will no longer be suffocated by fear or insecurity. It will no longer be necessary to make yourself smaller to fit into places that were never meant for you. I am restoring your authenticity, your lightness, your essence, that ability to feel without fear and to live without guilt. What I am healing within you reflects outwardly, in your actions, your choices, and the way you see yourself. The joy that is born now is not fragile or fleeting. It springs from a restored, strengthened heart aligned with me. You no longer need to pretend strength, because now it comes from me. Comment, my joy comes from God and it is true. Did you know that there is an effective method to attract greater financial prosperity? This technique can help transform your deep-seated beliefs and change the way you perceive reality. It had a profound impact on my life, and we would like to invite you to explore this special practice. When we trust that God wants to act in our lives, we gain the courage to ask Him directly. God desires to bless each of us in a unique and wonderful way. That's why it's important to seek His blessings with faith and confidence, believing that He has a special plan for you. If you would like to support our work and the team dedicated to bringing content that inspires and transforms, we invite you to check out our product. The link is available in the first comment, so you can discover how this technique can also help you on your journey. Your contribution helps us continue sharing messages that make a difference. We deeply appreciate your trust and support. You who so many times belittled yourself will begin to understand that you were born to lift others, to impact lives, and to live with purpose. Every time the old was removed, fear tried to paralyze you, because the new was not yet fully visible. But know this, the new already exists, it is already prepared, it is already aligned. While you felt empty, I saw ground ready for a glorious construction. While you thought you were behind, I saw you exactly on time. Nothing in your journey was accidental, and nothing escaped my sight. I was shaping your character while you questioned your value, strengthening your roots while you focused on what was missing. Just as it is written, He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11. What I have called into existence in your life will not fail, will not collapse, and will not be interrupted. Trust that my timing is intentional, precise, and full of wisdom, even when you do not understand the process. Comment, I trust in God's perfect timing. The promises that have not yet been fulfilled were not forgotten. They were guarded, protected, and reserved for this specific moment. The past that wounded you will no longer have authority over you. I am breaking old cycles, emotional, spiritual, and even generational, that tried to repeat themselves in your story. Nothing will keep you bound to what hurt you. Your mind is being restored. Your heart is being strengthened. Your steps are being guided with precision. From now on, What once seemed confusing will begin to make sense. You will notice clarity where there was fog and peace where there was turmoil. I am reorganizing what was disordered and healing what was fractured. You are not moving backward, you are being repositioned. This is not delay, it is alignment. Everything is converging according to my purpose, and you will recognize my hand in every detail. Comment: God is breaking cycles in my life. You will see purpose where there was once only confusion. You will discover paths where you believed there was no way out. You will recognize grace where you once felt only weight and pressure. My reconstruction is never partial, it is complete. I remember the moments when you asked for quick answers and received silence. It was not neglect. It was care. The answer you wanted at that moment would not have prepared you for the destination I had designed for you. I was protecting you from shortcuts that would have weakened your future. As Scripture says, "The Lord will perfect that which concerns me." Psalm 138 verse 8. I never stopped working, I was guiding the process with intention and love. Even when you doubted, I was faithful. Even when you were tired, I was sustaining you. Trust that every unfinished area is still under my care and will be completed at the right time. Comment: I believe God is perfecting everything in me. Today I reveal this to you. The silence was the soil where I planted resilience within you, and now that resilience will bloom. You will understand that every season was necessary, even the painful ones. I am turning pages you could not turn on your own. I am writing chapters that will become testimonies of overcoming, strength, and rebirth. What once looked like an ending will become a reference point. What seemed like delay will become proof of maturity. You will no longer see your past as a burden, but as evidence of my faithfulness sustaining you through it all. I am redeeming your story, restoring your confidence, and renewing your vision. The scars will no longer speak of loss, but of survival and growth. Walk forward without fear. I am with you, and I am not finished. What is coming will honor everything you endured. Comment: my past will be a testimony of God's faithfulness. I am bringing you something new that does not come to merely replace what was broken, but to fill what has been expanded within you. Your emotional capacity is growing, your spiritual depth is becoming richer, and your inner firmness is now visible even in silence. I am not restoring you to who you once were. I am leading you into someone more whole, more aware, more prepared for what lies ahead. The faith you carried, even when it felt small and fragile, is being multiplied in ways you could not imagine. What you once believed was sensitivity and weakness will now become discernment, clarity, and direction. I am shaping your inner world so you can sustain what I am about to place in your hands. Nothing in you is accidental. Every process refined you. Every delay strengthened you. As it is written, the work I began in you will not remain unfinished. I am faithful to complete it, layer by layer, season by season. Receive this truth. I am making you more complete, not by erasing your past, but by redeeming it and transforming it into wisdom, strength, and quiet confidence. Nothing you have lived truly diminished you. Even when it felt like loss, I was rewriting your story with ink that time cannot erase. Every experience, including the darkest ones, served a higher purpose that is now unfolding. Your vision is expanding, and soon you will look back not with regret, but with gratitude for how far you have come. Your days will no longer feel like repetitions of pain, but invitations to begin again with clarity and hope. Each morning will reveal renewed strength rising within you. Your mind will find rest where there was once noise. Your heart will discover stability where there was once uncertainty. I am healing details you were not even aware needed restoration. Quietly, intentionally, I have been aligning what you could not see. A new season has already begun, and you are stepping into it with maturity, peace, and readiness. Open your hands, open your heart, and receive what I prepared specifically for you. My beloved child, hear me with a heart at rest, because what once seemed immovable is already shifting under my authority. Situations you believed were permanently blocked are loosening, not by chance, but by intention. Doors you mourned as closed are opening through paths you never imagined, because I do not work only through what you expect, but through what you could not foresee. Places where your voice was once ignored will become spaces where your presence carries weight and meaning. You will notice that people begin to listen differently, not because you have forced your way forward, but because I am placing clarity and quiet authority upon you. Even now, as you receive these words, a subtle strength is being poured into your life. It is not loud or aggressive, it is steady, grounded, and unshakable. This power does not rush, yet it advances without resistance. You may feel it as calm where anxiety once lived, confidence where hesitation ruled, and assurance where fear whispered lies. What is unfolding is not fragile, and it will not retreat. It is anchored in my will, and therefore it will endure. I am drawing a new route before you, one that does not mirror your past paths or repeat old cycles. I am repositioning you within the landscape of your destiny, moving you away from places that drained you and toward spaces that will nourish what I placed within you long ago. Talents that slept under layers of disappointment are awakening, stretching, and breathing again. Abilities you once dismissed as insignificant are rising with renewed relevance. At the same time, I am strengthening areas where you once felt exposed and fragile. I am not ignoring your vulnerabilities, I am fortifying them. Nothing will erase what I am building, because it is not dependent on human approval or external stability. Nothing will halt the progress I have set in motion, because it is carried by my purpose, not your performance. Nothing will obstruct the reconstruction taking place within you, because it is guided by wisdom that sees the end from the beginning. What I am doing is deliberate, layered, and precise, and it will stand long after temporary circumstances fade. Understand this clearly, the work is not finished, in truth, it is only beginning. What lies ahead will be broader, deeper, and more expansive than anything you have known before. But for this new season to unfold fully, I ask you to allow your inner defenses to soften. For a long time, you learned to protect yourself because pain taught you caution. That protection once served a purpose, but over time it became an invisible wall that limited your movement and muted your joy. You guarded your heart not only from harm, but also from hope. Now I am inviting you to release those barriers, not because you will be careless, but because you will be secure. I do not want you walking forward while still bracing for yesterday's wounds. I want you to see that what injured you no longer holds authority over your tomorrow. What is coming is different, because it is built on foundations that cannot be shaken, eroded, or stolen. You are entering a time where you will not need to hide from pain, because I am healing the roots from which it grew. There are wounds you tried to ignore so you could keep moving. Wounds no one noticed, wounds you covered with strength and productivity, wounds that never fully closed. They continued to pulse quietly beneath the surface, influencing your reactions, your choices, and your fears. Today, I am touching those places with care and depth. I am restoring memories, not by erasing them, but by redeeming them. I am reordering what was disjointed, bringing truth where confusion once lived. I am carrying light into corners of your soul you avoided because they hurt too much to face alone. You will discover that healing does not always announce itself dramatically. Sometimes it arrives as understanding, as forgiveness, as the ability to breathe without heaviness. As this work unfolds, you will feel lighter than you have in a long time. Your thoughts will become clearer, your heart less burdened. What once held you captive will lose its grip, and you will realize that freedom does not require forgetting, only restoration. You tried so many times to rebuild everything by yourself. You believed that strength meant independence, that asking for help was a weakness you could not afford. You carried weights I never assigned to you, fought battles you were never meant to face alone. I never demanded perfection from you, nor did I expect you to endure without support. I am here to fight for you, to stand with you when your strength wanes, to lift you when your steps feel heavy. The reconstruction I am leading does not require flawless faith or constant certainty. It requires willingness. It asks only that you allow me to do what only I can do. When you release the burden of self-sufficiency, you will find that trust is not surrendering control to chaos, but placing it into faithful hands. In that exchange, you will discover rest that does not come from escape, but from alignment. Many of the tears you shed were not signs of weakness, but of saturation. Your heart reached a point where it could no longer contain the accumulated weight of disappointment, responsibility, and unspoken grief. Those tears were release, not failure. Now that weight is being lifted and replaced with a peace that does not depend on circumstances aligning perfectly. This peace will remain even when questions persist, because it is rooted deeper than understanding. You are not merely being comforted, you are being transformed from the foundation upward. Your identity will no longer be shaped by what you lost or where you fell short. It will be anchored in the unchanging truth of who you are in me, loved, strengthened, and entrusted with a purpose that cannot be destroyed. Watch as the fragments of your life begin to align. Relationships that seemed irreparably broken may be restored with new wisdom, and where restoration is not possible, closure will bring freedom. The insight you gain through hardship will become the framework for your future decisions. You will no longer move back and forth between doubt and hope, uncertain of your footing. Instead, you will advance with a quiet confidence, knowing each step rests on solid ground. This is a season of fullness, where seeds planted in tears will yield a harvest of deep, lasting joy. During the moments you felt most broken, you were closer to me than you realized. I heard the prayers you could not form into words, the questions your lips never spoke, the cries your soul carried in silence. Now I am responding, not merely with answers, but with transformation. Everything you endured will gain new meaning. Losses that once felt senseless broke structures that no longer served your path. Connections ended because they could not accompany you forward. Roads closed because they would have led you away from who you are becoming. None of this was meant to harm you, it was meant to free you. Now I am rebuilding with precision and care. Inner structures that were unstable are becoming strong. Insecurity is giving way to trust, sorrow to renewed enthusiasm, confusion to clarity. I am lifting you as something precious, shaping your life with intention and tenderness. There is nothing within you that I reject. Every chapter of your story will be used. Every pain will be transformed. Every fall will become a step upward. You may have believed that your best days were behind you, but I tell you this with certainty: what lies ahead carries depth, purpose, and fulfillment you have not yet experienced. Walk forward without fear. You are not late, you are not broken, and you are not forgotten. You are entering a season where wholeness will no longer feel distant, but lived, breathed, and embodied, day by day, step by step, under my faithful guidance. My beloved son, listen carefully to what I am revealing to you now, because I am correcting a lie that tried to settle in your heart for too long. You were led to believe that your best days were behind you, that the doors that truly mattered had already closed, that the season of opportunity had quietly passed without notice. But I tell you with clarity and authority, what I have prepared for you is not behind you, it is ahead. The past does not define the measure of your future, nor does what ended determine what is about to begin. What once seemed like loss was never the end of the story, only the removal of what could not accompany you forward. What was good before cannot be compared to what is coming now, because what is coming was designed with greater depth, greater strength, and greater purpose. I am not returning you to an old version of life, I am leading you into a dimension you have never known. This is not mere recovery, it is expansion. Not simple restoration, but multiplication. Your path is unfolding into something broader than you imagined, and every step you take from here on carries the weight of intention, alignment, and growth. There has always been a light within you, even when sadness tried to dim it, even when disappointment clouded your vision. That light never disappeared because it did not originate from circumstances, people, or success, it came from me. I placed it inside you before fear ever touched your heart. That light endured storms, betrayals, silences, criticism, and falls, not because you were always strong, but because it is eternal. Now that light is beginning to intensify again. Not abruptly, not forcefully, but naturally, as a result of the inner work I am doing in you. Those around you will notice the change before you fully understand it yourself. They will see peace where there was tension, clarity where there was confusion, firmness where there was hesitation. You will become an inspiration not by striving to prove anything, but by simply walking as someone who has been rebuilt from the inside out. When I restore, I do not return fragile structures to their previous state, I reinforce them. I rebuild them stronger, more resilient, more capable of withstanding what once threatened to collapse them. Your identity is being reconstructed on new foundations. The old ways of thinking shaped by prolonged suffering are being gently dismantled. I am activating within you a renewed perspective, one that sees beyond immediate pain and temporary limitation. Where you once saw only uncertainty, you will begin to perceive direction. Where walls seemed immovable, you will discover passages opening. Your mind is being aligned with truth instead of fear, with possibility instead of doubt. This transformation is not superficial, it reaches into how you interpret life, how you respond to challenges, how you see yourself. You will no longer measure your worth by what went wrong, but by what is being formed now. The narrow vision imposed by pain is giving way to a wider, illuminated understanding. You will realize that the delays you resented were actually preparations, that the silence you feared was protection, and that the waiting refined your discernment. You are learning to see with depth, and this clarity will guide you with confidence. This reconstruction is also touching your relationships. I am realigning the people who will walk with you in the next chapter of your life. Those who are coming will not compete with you, drain you, or manipulate you. They will support your growth, respect your boundaries, and walk beside you with sincerity. The connections that fell away did not leave because you failed, they were removed because I was protecting you. There were bonds that could not survive the new strength being built within you. Emotional drains, hidden intentions, and unhealthy attachments cannot enter the new cycle I am opening. From now on, healthier connections will form naturally, without force or anxiety. Your emotional world, once unstable and heavy, will begin to find balance. The constant anguish that followed you for years will lose its grip. The fear that something bad was always about to happen will fade, replaced by a quiet assurance. When I reconstruct, I bring peace where chaos once ruled, and rest where exhaustion once dominated. I am bringing order to your thoughts. You will no longer have to fight endlessly against ideas that try to pull you down or undermine your confidence. A new calm is settling within your mind, not because everything is perfect, but because you are learning to trust where you are held. Your soul is finding rest. I am teaching you a new way of seeing life, a way that does not depend on constant control or endless anticipation of disaster. There is a value I am placing within you now, a lasting courage that will not fade with circumstances. This courage will not be rooted in how you feel on a given day, but in the certainty of who I am and how present I am with you. It will sustain you in unfamiliar territory and strengthen you in moments of decision. This courage will lead you to places you once avoided, and it will give you the confidence to say yes to opportunities you previously rejected out of insecurity. My beloved son, the moment that once seemed distant has arrived with quiet certainty. Every ache you endured, every frustration you carried in silence, every night you faced feeling unseen was not meaningless. Nothing was wasted. Those experiences were creating space within you, stretching your inner capacity so that what I am now releasing could be fully contained. What you interpreted as delay was preparation. What felt like abandonment was careful shaping. Even when you questioned whether you could continue, I was already establishing the foundation for a transformation that is now unfolding with increasing strength. You were never standing still, you were being positioned. Each tear softened the soil of your heart, making it fertile for what is now emerging. I did not allow the process to destroy you, I allowed it to deepen you. And now, as this new season begins to surface, you will recognize that the weight you carried refined your discernment, matured your faith, and expanded your vision beyond what comfort ever could. I am drawing hidden resources to the surface, qualities within you that the storm buried but never erased. Resilience forged in pressure is becoming wisdom that cannot be taught by words alone. The patience you developed through waiting is transforming into a steady guidance that others will one day seek. What appeared broken in your past will not simply be repaired, it is being woven into something broader, richer, and more meaningful. The frayed threads, the inconsistencies, the unanswered questions are all finding their place in a design far more intricate than you imagined. You will see that nothing about your journey was random. Each experience added texture, depth, and clarity. Where you once saw contradictions, you will now see continuity. Where you once felt fragmented, you will begin to sense wholeness forming. This is not about returning to who you were before the pain, it is about becoming someone more grounded, more aware, and more aligned with the purpose I placed within you from the beginning. The path ahead of you is not merely open, it has been deliberately prepared. It is paved with my faithfulness and illuminated by the certainty that nothing you live through will be wasted. Even the silence that once unsettled you served a purpose. In that quiet, I cultivated a trust no longer dependent on circumstances but rooted in my unchanging nature. You learn to stand without constant reassurance, to breathe without immediate answers, to believe without visible proof. That maturity will now sustain you. You will move forward with a confidence that does not collapse when conditions shift. The stillness you once feared has become a place of strength, teaching you how to listen, how to discern, how to wait without losing hope. What once felt empty was actually fertile ground, and now you will begin to see what has been growing beneath the surface all along. Walk now with certainty. Understand that what broke you will not define your story. I am raising you with intention and precision. The reconstruction taking place within you runs deeper than you can yet comprehend. This is not merely about fixing what shattered, it is about creating something entirely new where direction once seemed absent. I am establishing pathways where confusion once ruled. You will notice that decisions no longer feel as heavy, that clarity begins to replace doubt. The strength forming within you is not loud or aggressive, it is steady, grounded, and enduring. You are being equipped to move forward without dragging the debris of yesterday behind you. What you once carried as proof of failure will soon become evidence of growth. You are not starting over empty-handed. You are starting again with wisdom, discernment, and an inner stability that cannot be easily shaken. What once appeared to be an ending is revealing itself as a beginning. What looked like ruin is becoming the foundation for something far more solid than what existed before. You believed you were abandoned at your most difficult moment, but I was shaping your inner life while you struggled simply to survive. I was refining your values, your boundaries, your perception of what truly matters. You were learning what to release and what to protect. Now you will see that your inner structure is stronger, more honest, and more resilient. You are no longer built on fragile expectations but on truth, awareness, and depth. This is why what comes next will not collapse under pressure. It will endure because it is rooted in who you have become, not merely in what you hope to achieve. Today, what I planted in silence begins to bloom. The experiences you endured shook your emotional foundations, which is why I am rebuilding from the heart outward. I do not want you moving forward carrying wounds that still bleed or memories that still dictate your reactions. Healing is not rushed, it is intentional. I am touching places no one else has ever seen, emotions you guarded because you believed no one could understand them. Each fragmented piece is being gathered with care. My work of restoration leaves no voids. Promises spoken over your life were never canceled, even when everything seemed to collapse. What comes from me is not lost. You may have thought those promises disappeared in the chaos, but they were preserved, waiting for the moment you were ready to live them fully, without fear distorting their meaning. Many of the delays you mourned were not failures but protection. There were paths that looked appealing but would have diminished you. There were people who appeared as opportunities but would have limited your growth. This is why doors closed despite your pleading. This is why situations you wanted to preserve were removed. Now I am giving you clarity where confusion once lived. Your heart is opening to the new because I have removed the weight that made belief difficult. You became accustomed to expecting disappointment as a form of self-defense. Prolonged suffering taught you to walk braced for pain. But that posture is changing. Fear is losing its authority over your hope. I am restoring your ability to dream without immediately preparing for loss. Your faith will no longer be fragile, because I will steady every step you take. When I look at you, I do not see weakness. I see endurance, survival, and courage. Others may wonder how you could begin again, but the answer was never in your own strength. It has always been in the work I initiated within you. This transformation extends beyond your inner world into your surroundings. Your spaces, routines, and relationships are being infused with a new harmony. You will notice alignment where resistance once existed, ease where friction once dominated. Even your inner voice is changing. The tone that once criticized and doubted is becoming a steady source of truth and encouragement. You will learn to recognize it apart from fear and trust it as a reliable guide. No longer will you live imprisoned by what went wrong. Pain has lost its authority. Failure no longer defines your limits. You are stepping into a life guided by clarity, shaped by resilience, and sustained by a purpose established long before the struggle began. With love, God. I hope this message has been an inspiration to you. If it touched your heart, write Amen in the comments and share it with someone who also needs to hear this word. I invite you to click on the first comment, where you will find a special prayer and a suggestion to strengthen your spiritual journey. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more inspiring content like this. See you tomorrow.